Good evening. I'm Kenneth Burkett. Thank you for joining me tonight. Do you know how many germs are on the human hands? Do you know passing germs from casual contact from person to person is a major cause for most illnesses that affect people today? A lot of diarrheal associated deaths come from passing of germs from hand to hand. And also, school absenteeism can be reduced by people washing their hands. So tonight, I will be talking to you about the simple act of washing your hands thoroughly with warm water and soap, especially after leaving the bathroom. This simple act can drastically reduce illnesses passed among people, according to the Center for Disease Control, or the CDC. The main reason why I chose this topic is, a few weeks ago, my wife became very, very ill, nearly died. And in research to find out what could be the cause of such a thing, at least I did, came across the act of simple hand washing. And I was very intrigued at how few people actually do this thing. We're taught to wash our hands from children on up. But in the medical field, I found that there's a lot of people, until just recently, as recent as 2002, did not follow the simple act of washing your hand with soap and water. To start with, back in over 140 years ago, back in the 1840s, there was this one doctor, Dr. Semmelweis, was a doctor in Vienna, noticed that a lot of the patients, ladies who were delivering babies, were dying. More were dying on the ward that were tended to by students who earlier worked, student doctors. Well, there was a 3% higher death rate for the children and mothers on this student ward than on the ward that was delivered from midwives. And he noticed that the students in this particular ward were students who were working with cadavers in the morning and coming on to the evening shift and delivering babies. And it got so bad till the ladies were dreading to even go to this ward. They said they would rather have their babies at home than to go to this particular ward where all the ladies were dying. Okay, so Semmelweis noticed that there was a possible connection with the pathogens that were in the cadavers being passed on to the mothers, and obviously they died. In 2002, Dr. Julie Gerberding became the director of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, did a study, and she noted the information that Dr. Semmelweis did, and she brought forth this information to the 21st century. They did a lot of studies and found out that physicians as late as 1990s were anywhere between 12 to 30% wash rate for washing their hands in pediatric wards, because children were still dying at an alarming rate. But after Dr. Semmelweis, Dr. Judy Gerberding discovered all this information, she implemented the fact that we should wash our hands thoroughly in the hospital. We should wash our hands in daycare centers. We should wash our hands in the restaurants. And this, by simply doing this one thing, a lot of the illnesses that are prevalent today can be reduced. There was one study in 16 schools, 16 elementary schools with 6,000 students. They start washing their hands with a simple gel, and the absentee rate dropped by 20% during the period that they were conducting the study. Even though washing your hand doesn't kill the germs, it basically takes the germs away from the hands and wash it down the sink so it doesn't pass on from person to person. And I will do a quick sample. This is a general disinfectant, and you put it under your hand as such, and you will rub your hand vigorously. And it's an alcohol-based gel, and you do this for about 20 seconds or so to make sure that you disinfect your hands. And this simple act, and make sure to get between your fingers, on the back of your hands and the front of your hands and all. And that will get rid of a lot of the germs as well. Now this simple act can stop a lot of the germs from passing on to person to person, and it will also decrease the rates of the common cold and chronic diarrhea, and also help stop E. coli. Thank you very much. Good evening.